Namaste. Welcome to you all. I am A. Meenakshi, Assistant Professor of English, Government Degree College for Women, Karimnagar, Telangana State. Today's topic is vocabulary. What is vocabulary? Vocabulary is the body of words used in a particular language which is fundamental tool for communication and acquiring knowledge. Vocabulary is very much necessary while speaking as well as while writing. The more vocabulary we know means the better speakers and better writers we will be. We should improve the vocabulary stock in us. In our present lesson, we are going to discuss the following. They are etymology, that is word origins from proper nouns, and next story about the origin of words, words in English from other languages, and also anagrams, palindromes, spoonerisms, pangrams, tongue twisters, oxymoron, etc. What is etymology? Etymology is the study of the origin of words and the way in which their meanings have changed throughout history. Today we study words originated from nouns. There are some words which have originated from nouns. We will see how the how the names of these words formed from the proper nouns. The first one is America. According to a popular theory, America derives its name from the name of the famous navigator Americus Vespucius. During his voyage to the New World, the young author and map maker labeled this piece of land that roughly corresponded to South America on the map as America. Later, the map maker sketched it and included North America in it as well. So, America, the name has come from the navigator Americus Vespucius. Now, the next word, boycott. Charles Cunningham Boycott was a land agent for the estates of the Earl of Erne in County Mayo of Ireland. He tried to raise the rents around the autumn of 1880. The tenants of the estate formed the Irish Land League and turned against him. They destroyed his property, blocked his mail and food supplies. The captain flew to England to save himself. This was reported as a front page news item in leading newspapers. The word boycott gained currency from there and meant withdrawing from commercial or social relations with someone as a means of protest. So the word boycott came from the name of the land agent, Charles Boycott. Now Braille. A little French boy named Louis Braille became blind in the year 1812. He was very keen on learning a language. When he was old enough, he heard of a French army captain who had devised a system of raised dots and dashes. His orders could be read by one's fingers in the dark. This system used simple symbols in which one dot stood for advance and two dots for retreat. This was later developed fully by Louis Braille and came to be known as Braille system of printing for the blind. The word Braille came from Louis Braille. The next one is Fahrenheit. The masterminds Galileo and Sir Isaac Newton made thermometers that made use of water and alcohol. A manufacturer of meteorological instruments made the first mercurial thermometer that made it a simple matter to spot and record temperature changes. In the 18th century, Gabriel David Fahrenheit invented the scale that is widely used today and bears his name. Fahrenheit came from the name of Gabriel David Fahrenheit, who made the thermometer. The next one, Guy. The famous gunpowder plot was carried out on November 5, 1605. Guy Fawkes took a house adjoining the House of Parliament in London, tunneled to the cellar of the house, and concealed a fat charge of gunpowder in the coal bin. The king's soldiers got to know about it and warned him by a letter to stay away from a meeting at the house on the day set for the explosion. This eventually led to the discovery of the plot, and Guy Fawkes was tortured and hanged. On this day, every year, an effigy of Guy Fawkes is carried through the streets and burned. So the verb to guy means to ridicule someone, as the noun guy often means a fellow. Guy came from the name of the Guy Fawkes. Next word is Herculean. In Roman mythology, Hercules was born to a Roman god named Zeus and an ordinary mortal woman. Hera was the wife of the Zeus, so she became jealous and angry at this. She sent a pair of serpents to destroy the baby boy. However, Hercules seized the reptiles and choked them to death. Frustrated, Hera imposed 12 impossible labors upon him. But the demigod Hercules completed all of them, and finally he reached heaven to dwell with the gods and goddesses. Since then, any difficult task is called a Herculean task. Herculean is named after Hercules. Mentor. When Odysseus, one of the heroes of Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey, set out for the seas of Troy, he was afraid that he would not come back. So he left his household and his wife Penelope in the care of his trusted friend Mentor. When Odysseus was away, things went wrong at home. The wise goddess Athena saw this and assumed the form of Mentor and whispered a sound advice into the ear of young Telemachus, the son of Odysseus. From here, a mentor came to mean a wise counselor. The next word is Sphinx. According to a Greek legend, the Sphinx was a creature that had the head of a woman, body of a lion, wings of a bird, and the tail of a serpent. She asked the passers-by some riddles, and when they failed to answer, she mercilessly strangled them and flung them from her rock. The renowned Oedipus at last solved the riddle, upon which the Sphinx threw herself off the cliff and perished. A person whose actions are mysterious or puzzling is often referred to as a Sphinx. Next word is Utopia. The name Utopia was the subtitle of a political romance written by the English philosopher Sir Thomas More, which was published in 1516. In this book, the author has described an imaginary island that had a perfect social and political system. The word Utopia comes from Greek O means not and topos means place and means the land of nowhere. Therefore, the word Utopia came to mean an imaginary place in which everything is perfect. And now, X-ray. One day in 1805, a German physicist, Wilhelm Conrad Rontgen, was conducting an experiment. During this experiment, he passed electricity through gas contained in a vacuum tube and suddenly found that the radiation passed through objects that were opaque to ordinary light. Since this radiation was an unknown element, he named his discovery as X-rays. So now we have learned 10 words which were originated from proper nouns. America from Americus Vespucius, boycott from Charles Boycott, Braille from Louis Braille, Fahrenheit from Gabriel David Fahrenheit, Guy from Guy Fawkes, Herculean from Hercules, Mentor from Mentor, in whose disguise Athena advised, and Sphinx is from Sphinx, which means mysterious at present. Utopia is from the Utopia, the subtitle of the Thomas More's book. And X-rays. X-rays means any unknown element. So these 10 words were originated from the proper nouns. Now the second one, the story about the origin of words. We are talking about the stories, how they originated, some more words. We are talking here 5 words. What are those 5 words? Assassin, hazard, malaria, pedigree and phony. Let us see the first word, assassin. Assassin means murderer, one who murders others, especially prominent figures, political or religious figures, for political and religious reasons. How this word came? The word assassin is believed to derive from the word hashashin, which means smokers of hashish, a drug made from cannabis. The word is also believed to derive from Hassan, under whose leadership a certain secret Muslim sect engaged in terrorizing their Christian enemies by performing murders as a religious duty during the time of the Crusades. These acts were carried out under the influence of hashish, and so the killers came to be known as Hashashin. Gradually, Hashashin has become assassin. This is the story about the word assassin. The next word is hazard. Hazard means risk or danger. Let us see how it came. The term hazard is believed to have been derived from the Arabic word al-jar, which means the dice. In Western Europe, this term was associated with a number of games that use dice. These games were learned during the Crusades in the Holy Land. Since these dice games were associated with risky business which involved gambling and mortgage of something as an exchange for money, this word took on the connotation of something that involves danger and risk. Gradually, al-jar changed into the word hazard. Now the third word, malaria. What is malaria? An infectious disease characterized by chills and fever caused by the bite of an infected Anopheles mosquito. How this word came? This word is made up of the medieval Italian mal. Mal means bad. And aria means air. Malaria referred to the noxious fumes that emanated from the swamps around Rome in Italy. This bad air was believed to be the cause of fever in those people who spent time around those swamps. Through research, we now know that this illness is caused by the protozoa present in the mosquitoes that bred around these swamps and gave fever to those who were bitten by them. This is the story about malaria. It came from the meaning of mal and area, bad air. Now the next word is pedigree. Pedigree means a record of a line of ancestors. This word is believed to derive from French pedigree, which means crane's foot. The symbol of crane's foot is the genealogical trees resemble the crane's foot. Therefore, through the connection between the word and the symbol, pedigree came to mean the recorded ancestry of someone. Basing on the symbol, this word came. The next word is phony. Phony means something that is not genuine. This word originated from the word phony, meaning a guilt ring. In Britain, thieves and swindlers in the past used to sell these guilt rings saying that they were made of real gold. Even now sometimes this happens. People sell artificial things saying they are real. Since these rings were not made of real gold, phony came to be associated with something that is fake and not genuine. There are many components in English like anagrams, palindromes, spoonerisms, pangrams, tongue twisters, malapropism, which add flavor to the language and help generate interest among the learners. Now the third one is words in English from other languages. As we know that every language borrowed words from other languages. When we take our own Telugu, in Telugu we have so many Urdu words. In our Telangana Telugu especially, Davakhana, Subedari, Angur, Santra, so many. Like that in English also, so many words were included from other languages. Let us see what are those. From Arabic, the words that came into English are algebra, algorithm, admiral, zenith, almanac, alchemy, zero, orange, saffron, sugar, coffee, cipher. And from African language, gumbo, okra, apartheid. From Chinese, chopsticks, ketchup, typhoon. From Czech, robot, polka. From French, governor, attorney, fashion, army, letter, prayer, city, country, judge, library. From German, kindergarten, frankfurter, moped. From Spanish, cajon, patio, alligator, canyon. From Greek, anonymous, atmosphere, autograph, catastrophe, climax, comedy, critic, data, ecstasy, history, astrocytes, parasite, pneumonia, skeleton, tonic, tragedy. From Indian languages, paraya, bandicoot, jungle, dacoit, loot, chutney, pandit, bangle, cheetah, cot, shampoo, karma, sari, bungalow, pyjamas and bazaar. From Italian, alto, arsenal, balcony, casino, dio, gazette, motto, piano, opera, pantaloons, stanza, studio, tempo, umbrella, violin, pizza. From Japanese, sudoku, bonsai, honcho, rickshaw, origami, ikebana, samurai, hibakusha. From Latin, street, dish, mile, wall, school, altar, candle, paper, church, bishop, priest, apostle, butter, alphabet, ecclesiastical, wine, cheese, pepper, kettle, scribe. From Norse, they, their, them, give, take, want, window, scalp, scrap, scared, skirt, sky, and most words that begin with SC or SK. And from Persian, caravan. And from Russian, Tsar, glasnost, icon, perestroika, and vodka. These are the words that have entered English from various languages. That's why the language changes always due to the influence of other languages or other cultures. Every time, even recently from a guru, some words like guru are included in English language. Now we will learn the many components of English like anagrams, palindromes, spoonerisms, pangrams, tongue twisters, malapropisms. We first start with anagrams. Let us see what are anagrams. Anagrams are the words made by changing the order of the letters in the words. Take the word T-E-A. With the same letters we can make another word E-A-T, eat. N-E-T, net. T-E-N, ten. B-A-L-M, bomb. L-A-M-B, lamb. P-A-L-M, palm. L-A-M-P, lamp. Lump, plum. Read, dear. File, life. Lead, deal. Dealer, leader. Dog, god. Act, cat. Bear, bear. Flow, wolf. Lion, lion. Keen, knee. Cave, face. Sink, skin. Fringe, finger. You see, the same letters are same, but their place is changed. F-R-I-N-G-E and F-I-N-G-E-R. Framer, farmer. I think you have understood, no? Just you are changing the order of the letters. See carefully. Below, B-E-L-O-W, and we are starting with elbow, E-L-B-O-W. And break, baker. Rebuild, builder. Risen, rinse. Kitchen, thicken. So this is about anagrams. Anagrams means words made by changing the order of letters in other words. Just we change the order of letters. The letters will be same, but by the change of the order, a new word is formed from the old word. They are called as anagrams. Now we will move to pangrams. What is a pangram? Pangram is a sentence in which every letter of the alphabet is used at least once. The frequently quoted pangrams in English are, that means almost all the letters of English will be used. You see, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. See whether all the alphabets are there. Where is A? Lazy. In lazy, A is there. Where is B? In brown. Where is C? In quick. Where is D? In dog. Where is E? Over. Where is F? Fox. Where is G? Dog. Where is H? In the. Where is I? Quick. J. Jumps. K. Quick. L. Lazy. M. Jump. N. Where is N? Brown. O. Fox. P. Jump. Q. Quick. R. Brown. S. Jumps. T. The. U. Quick. V. Over. W. Brown. X. Fox. Y. Lazy. Z. Lazy. So all the 26 letters of alphabet are there in a single sentence. So a pangram is a sentence in which every letter of the alphabet is used at least once. They may be used even several times, but at least once it should be there. All the 26 letters should be there in the sentence. You check all the other sentences also, whether you find all these 26 letters or not. Pack my box with 5 dozen liquor jugs. Yes, all are there. Now you can check. Jackdaws love my big sphinx of quartz. My M is missing there. You add. My big sphinx of quartz. The 5 boxing wizards jump quickly. How vexingly quick daft zebras jump. Bright vixens jump, dozy fall quack. This is about the pangrams. Pangrams is a sentence in which all the 26 letters of the alphabet are used at least once. Okay? Next, we will move to spoonerisms. What is spoonerism? A spoonerism is an error in speech in which one phrase or word is used instead of another as a slip of the tongue. Sometimes they can be deliberately used to play with words. The word spoonerism is named after William Archibald Spooner, who was the warden of New College, Oxford, London. He was frequently prone to this mistake. Examples. 3 cheers for our queer old dean. The actual sentence should be like this. 3 cheers for dear old queen. But what the Spooner is saying? 3 cheers for our queer old dean. You see how they are changing. It is an error in speech, using one word instead of another word due to the slip of tongue. In the same way, is it customary to kiss the bride? The original sentence should be like this. Is it customary to kiss the bride? A blushing crow. Can there be any blushing crow? A crushing blow. To say a crushing blow, he is saying that blushing crow. A well-boiled icicle. What is it? It is nothing but a well-oiled bicycle. To say a well-oiled bicycle, the person is saying a well-boiled icicle. You were fighting a liar in the quadrangle. The original sentence should be, you are lighting a fire in the quadrangle. You see how much difference it is due to the mistakes done by slip of tongue. You have hissed all my mystery lectures. Mystery lectures. You see the original sentence is, you have missed all my history lectures. To say that you have missed all my history lectures, he is saying, you have hissed all my mystery lectures. Wonderful. The sentence itself is a mystery, no? For that reason, they are really mystery lectures. Know your blows. Actually, blow your nose is the right one. Ready as a stock. It is steady as a rock. We say, no, I am as steady as a rock. I don't move from my goal. Like that sometimes we say. When somebody say that you can't do anything means we say I am as steady as a rock, I can do anything. So fight in your race. It is not fight in your race, it is right in your face. Flutter by. You see this. To say butterfly, it is pronounced as flutter by. Bedding wells. Can there be bedding wells? Wedding bells. Instead of wedding bells, it is pronounced as bedding wells. I must mend the sail. How can we mend the sail? It is not that. I must send the mail. To say that I must send the mail, he is saying that mend the sail. And picnicking. To say nitpicking, it is mispronounced and is said as picnicking. Lack of pies. It is not lack of pies, it is pack of flies. He is a pack of flies means he always says lies. Tease my ears. It is not tease my ears, it is ease my tears. Go and shake your tower. No, go and take a shower. To have bath. Go and take a shower. It is not go and shake a tower. Nobody can shake the tower. And someone is occupying my pie. Please show me another sheet. There is no meaning for that sentence. But you see the original sentence. Someone is occupying my pew. Pew means seat. Please show me another seat. Okay, someone occupied mine. Please show me another one. That's the meaning of it. I think you enjoyed spoonerisms. What are spoonerisms? An error in speech which one phrase or word is used instead of another as a slip of tongue actually. And the next one is oxymorons. Oxymorons. What is an oxymoron? It is a figure of speech in which in English that juxtaposes elements which appear to be contradictory but contain a concealed point of unity. When we see the sentence, they appear as if they are contradictory, but there is a meaning in it. Concealed point of unity in it. For example, it adds variety to the language also. Example, his strength is his weakness. His strength is his weakness. As he is strong, he prone to beat others or something because of his strength he is doing. Because his strength is his weakness here. His weakness is very strong. Sometimes if anybody is weak in controlling himself, then we can say his weakness is very strong. If he is a drunkard, if anybody says why he stops drinking, then we can say his weakness is very strong. He can't give up that. Actually, it is weakness, but it is strong. There is meaning in it, but when we see apparently, it appears as if they are contradictory, weakness and strong. What is this? How can weakness be strong? Like that. And next, my failure is his success. You see, sometimes, generally, we have to feel success when we achieve something. But what happens in reality in life is, if somebody fails, people feel that they are succeeded. It is not a good thing. It is a negative quality. If we have that quality means we have to overcome definitely. But here also my failure is his success. Child is the father of man. How can a child be father of man? This is a statement made by William Wordsworth. But the real meaning is the father has to learn a lot from a child. A child is very simple, very innocent. But when the child grows into a man, what happens? All the innocence will be gone. So in that context, William Wordsworth says, child is the father of man. And their wealth is others' poverty. That means they became rich by looting others, by making others poor. If we realize our ignorance, we can enrich our knowledge. There is a Okay, another sentence. This is, if we realize our ignorance, we can enrich our knowledge. The first thing that is, if we know that we don't know anything, then only we will learn. If we assume that we know everything, then we can't learn any new thing. So the first thing is, we should realize that our ignorance, and then we have to enrich our knowledge. And the next one is, there is a war for peace. How contradictory they are. War and peace are contradictory, but always for the sake of peace. People say there are wars only for the sake of peace. Even recently, when we got, that means when we came to know that China is encroaching our land at Ladakh, what happens? Our Prime Minister said we should be ready with all might to fight against the enemy for the sake of peace. What a contradictory it is, but it is true. If we are strong, then only we can make peace. If we are ready for war, we can restore peace. If we are not ready, everybody wants to occupy us. Everybody wants to create a havoc. And then she is widely narrow in her understanding. You see, she is narrow. How? Widely. The children forget to remember. The children forget what? To remember something. They are wisely foolish. They are foolish. How? Wisely. It is an open secret. Secret means it should not be open to anyone, but it is an open secret. Everybody knows it, still it is a secret. Don't welcome me to see off. See off means send off. But don't welcome me to send off. See off. Don't call me to come there to send off. That's the meaning. You should remember to forget the worries. What you should remember? That you should forget all your worries. That you should remember. But generally what we remember? Worries, not to forget them. That is the oxymoron. We talked about anagrams, palindromes, spoonerisms, pangrams, and oxymorons. Now we'll go to malapropism. The term malapropism comes from the name of a character, Mrs. Malaprop, in Richard Sheridan's play The Rivals. Mrs. Malaprop frequently misspeaks to bring comic effect by using a meaningless, similar sounding word in place of the actual word. This speaking gaffe is called Dogberryism, also from the name of the character Dogberry in William Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. Much Ado About Nothing is a comedy. In this play, Dogberry is a character. He also used to use malapropisms. This character also utters many malapropisms which gave rise to humor. So now we see how malaprop, misuses the words. The students felicitated the teacher. This is the original sentence. The malapropism is the student facilitated the teacher. Entire meaning is changed. And another sentence is, there are 2 lakh electoral votes in Warangal. Instead of saying like that, there are 2 lakh electrical votes in Warangal. Is there any meaning? Electrical votes, no meaning, but just the word is identical, that much. His influence over his friends is very small. Instead of influence, what is said? His affluence over his friend is very small. The next one, punctuality means coming on time. And punctuation means coming on time. Punctuation is different and punctuality is different. And monogamy means having one wife. That is the actual sentence. Monotony means having one wife. Monotony is different entirely. And some students are at the pinnacle of politeness. To say this, some students are at the pineapple of politeness. What is pineapple? It is a fruit, nothing to do with pinnacle. And the villagers were forced to evacuate the village. Generally, when projects are built, this happens. The villagers were forced to evaporate the village. Nobody can evaporate the village. So instead of evacuate, evaporate is used. Lohit is a man of great stature. Lohit is a man of great stature. Entirely different meaning. She does not forget because she has photographic memory. Her memory is photography, as if she has taken a photo like that. She remembers everything. That's the meaning. She doesn't forget because she has photogenic memory. Entirely misused. The word is misused. This is about malapropism. And now the last one, tongue twisters. What are tongue twisters? Tongue twisters are phrases or sentences whose pronunciation is deliberately made difficult. And they are usually formed by the rapid alteration between distinct sounds such as sa and sha. Some tongue twisters produce amusing results when they are mispronounced. They are useful for improving pronunciation. The speakers master the art of pronunciation by becoming cautious of pronouncing the altering phonemes accurately without making mistakes. Let us pronounce them. She sells seashells at the seashore. Pronounce after me. She sells seashells at seashore. Fastly. Fast. Pronounce fast. She sells seashells at seashore. At the time we make mistakes generally. Next one. Peter peeped into the pipe and picked out pebbles. Yes, repeat after me. Peter peeped into the pipe and picked out pebbles. Fast. Peter peeped into the pipe and picked out pebbles. We have to practice them. Next one. Bunty bought some butter and put it in the batter but found that it was bitter. Yes, repeat. Bunty bought some butter and put it in the batter but found that it was bitter. Bunty bought some butter and put it in the batter but found that it was bitter. We have to practice saying fast. How much wood would a woodpecker want to wend its way? Yes, repeat. How much wood would a woodpecker want to wend its way? How much wood would a woodpecker want to wend its way? Next one. He screams and screams for ice cream. Repeat. He screams and screams for ice cream. He screams and screams for ice cream. Next. She showed the shining shoes in the shop. Yes, repeat. She showed the shining shoes in the shop. You see, sa and sha are some interchanging sometimes. She showed the shining shoes in the shop. She showed the shining shoes in the shop. Shashi saw the shower shining in the sun. Shashi saw the shower shining in the sun. Shashi saw the shower shining in the sun. Can you can a can as a canner can a can? Can you can a can as a canner can a can? Repeat. Can you can a can as a canner can a can? Next. We saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen. We saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen. Repeat. We saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen. And the next one. If an animal choose shoes, whose shoes does he choose? If an animal chose shoes, whose shoes does he choose? Repeat. If an animal chose shoes, whose shoes does he choose? Next one. I thought of thinking to thank you. I thought of thinking to thank you. Repeat it. I thought of thinking to thank you. The next one. She wishes to wash her British wristwatch. She wishes to wash her British wristwatch. Yes, repeat after me. She wishes to wash her British wristwatch. They stood near an ear and never thought that there was an ear. They stood near an ear and never thought that there was an ear. Yes, repeat after me. They stood near an ear and never thought that there was an ear. Next one. A big black bear sat on a big black rug. A big black bear sat on a big black rug. Repeat. A big black bear sat on a big black rug. Next sentence. Tom wanted to tame the twins for the time being. Time being. M is missing. Yes, repeat after me. Tom wanted to tame the twins for the time being. Tom wanted to tame the twins for the time being. Next one. He threw 3 thorns on the throne. Repeat after me. He threw 3 thorns on the throne. Next. 9 nuns were nourishing the neighbor nicely. Repeat after me. 9 nuns were nourishing the neighbor nicely. 9 nuns were nourishing the neighbor nicely. Next sentence. He brought 9 fine fresh fish for you. He brought 9 fine fresh fish for you. He brought 9 fine fresh fish for you. Next one. Which have you washed? Yes, repeat. Which have you washed? Which have you washed? Next. Read red lorry and yellow lorry without worry. Read red lorry and yellow lorry without worry. Read red lorry and yellow lorry without worry. Next. Thin stock, thick brook. Repeat. Thin stock, thick brook. Thin stock, thick brook. We have to repeat it several times. Then we come to know the difficulty. Fast we have to do. 2 true trends being tried. 2 true trends being tried. 2 true trends being tried. Next. She sees cheese. She sees cheese. She sees cheese. Next, last one. Good blood, bad blood. Good blood, bad blood. Good blood, bad blood. When we say like that, what happens now? Good blood, bad blood, bad blood, like that. If you do fast. Good blood, bad blood. Good blood, bad. But we must be conscious. Then when we are conscious, we don't make mistakes. But it's very good for pronunciation improvement. You can do all these at home. Several times you can practice them. It helps for pronunciation. And even you can enjoy also this while doing. And till now what we have learned, let us recapitulate. We have learned what vocabulary is, what etymology is, and how several words have been formed from proper nouns. What are those nouns? America, boycott, Braille, Fahrenheit, Guy, Herculean, Mentor, Sphinx, Utopia and X-ray. These are all from proper nouns. And we also discussed the stories about the origin of words. About 5 words. They are assassin, hazard, malaria, pedigree and phony. And we also discussed about anagrams, palindromes, spoonerisms, pangrams, oxymorons, malapropism and tongue twisters. So these are the things we have learned today under vocabulary. Now, before closing the class, I'd like to advise you to acquire a good habit. You should, from today you decide you should get up early in the morning. Remember the rhyme, old rhyme. Early to rise, early to bed, makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise. So resolve to get up early before sunrise. Have a nice day. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Thank you.